What's going on, legend? We are back from our break and we are coming back with a cracking video. We've got friend of the channel, amazing dude, Carefree Lewis. Lewis, how you doing, man?
It's great to be back. Great to be back. And great to see you guys back in the Premier League as well. I've missed being on this channel. So, yeah, it's an honor. Big up, my guy. Look forward to
Thank
the weekend. Look forward to the football. And it's great to just have our clubs back. Well, say that you guys are having your own problem in. I understand. I get it.
Yeah, give another stop the count, bro. End the season now. We're out of the relegation zone. That's all that matters. That's where
I
I'm
mean,
at.
we're third. We can stop the count right now. I'm fine.
Yeah, fair enough. And in terms of that, when it comes to your club and so far this season, how have you found Enzo so far with the state of the Premier League? How he's developed your team? How have you found everything?
Very refreshing. I'd say that because obviously there's a style of play now. There's an improvement in the team going forward. I do still think, even though we're shaky defensively, I have seen improvements in us as a unit. It just comes down to a lot of individual mistakes and Robert Sanchez just being a bozo. But ultimately, like, it's been very optimistic, very refreshing because we're finally starting to see like an upward trajectory in the club. Like, we are where I was saying the team should have been last season, which is just competing for top four. People are now at the point where they're trying to put Chelsea in quiet title conversations and everything. And I'm honored. I'm honored that my club is now finally back in that position. But no, we are not doing no title race. Robert Sanchez is not lifting a Premier League title, not in my lifetime. So it's okay. I'm here for the ride. I know of the run of fixtures that we have coming up, people might start getting a little bit more brazy as well. But for now, it's been very good. Very good from Maresca, even though there is still some question marks. Stubbornness with player selection, Robert Sanchez being number one. Substitutions, like, he's good at identifying issues in the first half. He'll make half-time substitutions, and then you probably won't see anything till after the 75th minute. But these being my problems, as opposed to last season when I had like a massive 100-point list on Pochettino and his crimes, I'm fine. These are the teething problems with a manager who I already knew was inexperienced. This is his first time managing in the Prem. Fine. Figure it all out. The only thing I'm running out of patience with him is Sanchez. If Sanchez starts costing me more points, I'm going after the manager with more vim solely for that one. But it ain't a manager out thing. It ain't a get this terrorist out thing. It's drop him.
Come on.
Drop him. And I don't care past that. So, yeah, it's been really good. It's been really good.
So is it Jorgensen, your second keeper?
Yeah. Yeah, we got him from Villarreal. He had, like, I think the highest save percentage in La Liga last season, which is why I don't get why people are like, oh, but Jorgensen ain't much better. We've only seen him play Conference League games, and I can't judge a goalkeeper from the Conference League when we're literally a cheat code in that competition. You have like one save to deal with a game if you're even on a bad day. So play him in the Prem.
There's a Leicester City fan that's from Denmark. So obviously you got Mads, who's obviously a keeper from ours. We've got a couple of players, and they rate. So he's rating, and Denmark in general. Well, at the moment they've got Kasper Schmeichel, who's obviously the main keeper, and you thought Mads was going to be here. They're saying that Jorgensen has got a higher ceiling, and they're saying that he's going to be one for the future. Yeah, and I was really surprised at that because I was thinking, really? But no. So, and again, I'm all here to give Mads props. But they've been saying, look,
he's been very good this season too.
He's going to be a very good keeper from what I've heard as well. But in terms of everything with the team, and obviously you've had a complete change around in terms of formation. Some players have stayed, some other players you mentioned like the Enzo Fernandez are kind of playing a backseat role as well. Are you buying into what Enzo's building and kind of trusting the process?
Oh, 100%. Like I always say, trust progress, not the process.
I'm
seeing progress. We're beating teams that we didn't beat last season. Like last season, we didn't beat West Ham away. We won there. Didn't beat Bournemouth. We won there. What else? There was other games like Wolves. We didn't win there. We absolutely battered them this time round. I do see good game management in game as well. Like, again, there were the minor issues which we spoke about earlier, but this is something that I can believe in, because I said when Maresca joined, I will give him more leeway than Pochettino because of his lack of experience. And look where we are. We have 0 to 1 injuries going into games. Last season, we had about 8 to 10 minimum. Like, we have the majority of the squad back. We can finally flex the depth that we have in our squad. Like, yeah, I understand some of the critics around Maresca. I don't think serious questions need to be asked of him. I did see that narrative going around after the Arsenal game. I don't believe any big questions need to be asked, but you can point out a few things that you can improve on. Some of the subs could be a bit quicker. Some players, like, you need to be a bit more ruthless with them, because I see the ruthlessness with Enzo. I'll see the ruthlessness with Mudryk. I don't see it with Robert Sanchez, for example. I don't see it with Madueke, for example. So little areas, but again, this is where we are after the last 2 years. Cool. I can buy in for now. That's more than enough for me. You have the season. Because I don't think you're going to tank off to a point where I'm going to be like, should we get rid of him? So take the season. I expect us to get top 4 now. I already did, but like now I expect it even more, because Villa are our only real threats, in my opinion. Newcastle have picked up form, but I need to see a bit more from them. Spurs, I'm not threatened by them. United, if we let United back into the race, that's on our own head.
Especially
Go
with
get
them
top
being
4.
13th
Easy.
at the moment.
Yeah, like, I mean, they are 4 points off us. That's the craziest thing. But yeah. Like, there's 4 points between 13th and 3rd. Like, it's a
Oh
madness.
my god!
But
I've just been so busy looking at the
good
relegation
run.
zone, I've not even looked up.
Don't blame you. I don't blame you. But we've got a favourable run of fixtures anyway, so I expect us to take full advantage of that. So we shouldn't even be looking downwards within the next few weeks. We should be looking up.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. So you're looking at us, obviously Leicester. Don't even know who that is in the Conference League. Villa, Southampton, Tottenham. Don't even know who that is in the Conference League. Has it been like that? Because I'm looking at these people, I don't even know who these are.
Yeah. Like, when I do the Conference League watch-alongs, I'm just checking to see if there's any players I recognise. I've seen Palestris at Panathinaikos. Ija Good-Johnson's son played against us at the Bridge when we had Ghent. And like, that was it. I didn't know anybody else. So yeah, Villa is obviously going to be like the one game I'm really looking at and thinking, okay, that might be tricky, but they're still top 4 opposition, so I expect 3 points as a 6-pointer. Tottenham away, sorry, I don't take it seriously. Go win at that ground, and everything else is a win. It has to be.
Yeah.
Otherwise, questions.
Yeah, and I think questions on the owner, but also questions on the management, the owners, the higher up on the board. I think that's a level of obviously hiring a manager that hasn't got experience, putting him on that longer term contract, especially after what's happened with the
But
likes of
that would be
Graham.
more like if it gets to a point where he's a bum, or I'm thinking he's a bum, or we need to get rid of him, because then it'll be like, you told me this is the man we're gonna win the league with. So I'll give you the leeway with that for now as well, because I don't think you'll be the same manager in 3 years. You would have adapted, you would have evolved, all of that. For now, you're doing more than enough for what I need. But it's a 5-year contract. He's got to be the long-term manager. So you're going to get the long-term patience too. Because I also know I wasn't that fair with Graham Potter back in the day as well. We gave him the 5-year deal. I wanted him out within a couple months. And I get it was because of the standards. We're doing 4 wins in 20, 2 in 18. It was stupid. But that squad was rubbed. And I didn't give him the credit for that. So I'm being a bit more patient with Maresca too, with that in mind.
Fair enough. And just coming back to something you mentioned earlier about the Arsenal game, were you surprised going into that game? What were your expectations, and did they meet them during the game? I know you with the rivalry with Arsenal, and seeing a manager like Arteta, how long he's been given, with the fact that he's done one FA Cup trophy, I think.
Yeah, in 4 years.
Yeah, and that's what he's got, and he's the amount of money he spent. Obviously, Enzo will naturally be compared to him. How do you think that game went for you? Were you, in terms of when you're coming into the game, and kind of you obviously you wanted to win, but were you happy with the performance?
It's a tricky one, because like I went into that game knowing Arsenal would be a threat, but still expecting a win, because we haven't beaten them at home in ages. They're not in good form. They're kind of there for the taking, but not like they're rubbed out. Just they're not anything special. And I had the same feeling of Arsenal coming out of that game. They weren't anything special. They were good defensively. that was it. Didn't even think they were that much of a threat on set pieces for us. Like our biggest problem was just ourselves. I always say, like, if we can, I expect us to concede a goal off a Sanchez howler, and for the second game in a row, it was a Sanchez howler. How do you get beaten by Martinelli from that angle? It's ridiculous. And then there's also the defensive mess up going into that goal. Noni doesn't track back, which he's improved a lot at this season, which was disappointing. The defense, ball watching, but ultimately comes down to Sanchez being beaten from a really tight angle. My biggest gripes though was like Cole Palmer wasn't fit for the game. I mean, was pushed into the game as a late option. Should never have played the full 90. Bring Nkunku on. We didn't bring him on till the 88th minute. There goes back to my gripe with Maresca and the late substitutions. Gusto playing in the 10 again, but like I kind of put that down more to the individual and still trying to understand the role Maresca wants from him. So again, I'll give him a little bit more leeway with that. It's just the subs and this Sanchez thing that we're just not getting over yet because it's starting to cost us. So I won't say I was angry. I won't say I was happy. Just think I was just disappointed. Just disappointed.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think that is, considering where Enzo is in his development, in his career, I think you're in a good position. And just coming back to some of the players that have played so far. So obviously everybody's going to talk about Cole Palmer, and I think rightfully so. He's been brilliant this season. It's kind of continuation of last season. But who's been your apart from him? Who's been your favorite player to watch?
Caicedo and Lavia, to be honest. This too is a pivot. Ridiculous. Yeah, that's why he's back up there, isn't it? Caicedo, to me, has been the best midfielder in the league. And like I get people say Gravenberch as well. I won't argue down people who say Gravenberch. He's been up there on that level too. But Caicedo, again, there as well. Sensational in build-up. Sensational in terms of knowing when to be aggressive and knowing when to slow down the tempo of games. His passing, always been underrated, but we've seen it a lot this season. He's played a big part in some key goals for us this season. Defensively, he's done his job. It's just everything you could ask for in a midfield. Lavia is just straight up. Him in the first phase is a cheat code. Don't bother pressing him. Regardless of what you do, how many players you press him with, he is beating the press and he has the pass to match with that as well. So the pair of them have been like the two standout players for us. I'd say Jackson as well, even though he does have his bouts of inconsistency, it's been a step up to last season. He's a lot more clinical now. He makes the right decisions a lot more as well. You just got to learn to like beat the offside trap a little bit better because he still gets caught out with that every now and then. But those three have been our main standouts for me.
So I hear you on Jackson. Is that because Jackson's upped his level just from maturity, from playing more Premier League games, or do you think that's because of the coaching and the system that Enzo's putting him in?
Bit of both, because the coaching is what's getting him into those positions. But last season, he would be missing those chances. Last season, one-on-one with the keeper, he would be bottling it or he would be overthinking things. Now he goes one-on-one with the keeper. I'm confident he's scoring. So I think the answer's in the middle with that one. Also, I got to add Cucurella. Been the best left back in the league this season as well. So he's got to go in there too.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And then is there any players that, as kind of alongside that, has there been any players that have surprised you so far?
I mean, Sancho, just because I didn't expect him to start as well as he did. Obviously, he hasn't played the last few games due to like knocks and tonsillitis, just a bunch of different things, but he should be back now. Noni started well, started really well. And I don't know if it's because Palmer's been moved to the left the last few games or not, but he's kind of fell off a bit. But the same thing with Palmer, to be honest. Like, this has been his first bad patch in a Chelsea shirt. And I put a lot of it down to him playing on the left-hand side. All of his best football comes in the right pocket or right on the right wing. We haven't done that. He clearly don't look as comfortable or as involved in anything other than just building up play. So either it works now when we try it against the teams lower in the table, or you just throw it in the bin and you put him back where he plays his best football. It's a one or the other thing. But don't really think anybody's surprised me like that since. Yeah, I wouldn't say anybody else.
Okay, fair enough. And with that, I'm just looking at obviously the team that you set up against the team that played. Who do you think? Well, obviously with players coming back from international duty, because again, the majority of your players will go on international duty now. Who's the player that's going to start at like left wing? Because I made this a flawless when I did the podcast with him just against Man United in the last game. I said to him, that's going to be the position that is going to you watch that position because James Justin's going to play. He's going to be exposed again. You got to the point where Poch, where you knew exactly what was going to happen in the game before the game happens, and I'm there. I'm there, and I told Floyd exactly what's going to happen. Just in terms of what's going to happen, I don't think we're going to score any goals. I don't think potentially we might not even have a shot on target, in the game against you. I'm telling you that
Oh
there's ahead of
wow.
time. I
No,
don't.
no, 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 not. No, we'll give you a chance. I think you score. To be honest, I don't think we keep a clean sheet.
We made
Apparently,
Man
you lot haven't conceded. I saw you haven't conceded. You haven't. You've scored in every game you've had at home this season.
bar Man United. By Man United, we scored in every single game.
No, no,
But
home game, home game. Every
yeah,
home game this season you scored. I expect that to continue.
but the difference is now we've got injuries, and also the players don't
Ah.
believe in the system. And when that happens, it's not looking good. And now we've got injuries to key players. Buonanotte is our main attacking outlet. As a Cam, he's out for this game because of suspension. Fatau, as you probably know, is now out with the ACL, which is a devastating injury for us.
Is
I'm not.
Vardy a doubt? Because I've seen he's back in training, but I've seen like a few accounts say like he's a question mark.
So this is the thing. Steve Cooper says, yeah, he's a doubt. Yeah, he's a doubt. But if Jamie Vardy says he's fit, he'll play. But the problem is we talk about single digit touches of the ball for him. And with that,
Okay.
you just don't. If you cut the service gets cut off, and it's not Vardy's fault. It's just the fact that there's no service to him.
I mean, sounds like it should be easier for us, but I'm just expecting a bozo moment at the back at one point. Like that's been our thing. Like in terms of our system, I'm not really concerned about the way that we defend. I expected the team needed some time to adapt to it, but I feel like they have. And when you look back at it from a goal by goal perspective, like bozo moments everywhere for the Arsenal goal. The United penalty, so avoidable. Sanchez does not need to be diving from that angle. It's Hoyland. What the hell is he doing from there? And the Fafana as well, like just ball watching in the build up too. Liverpool, silly penalty given away. Well, yeah, silly penalty from Cole given away, and then another Sanchez bozo moment with Reece James for the second goal. Nottingham Forest, set pieces. I know Forest are good at set pieces. It is what it is. We're not great at defending them either. But Brighton, both goals, Sanchez howlers. So you look at them like it's not the system that's causing problems, it's individuals. And I kind of expect that to be the problem again against Leicester. Like I still think we're going to win by a decent margin, but I don't think we keep a clean sheet. So I hear all of that. It fills me with a bit more optimism. I say that like respectfully. I think we're going to win the game regardless, but
No,
it's about whether we concede or not. And I just don't. I want a game without Sanchez just annoying me. Just one match. Because even United, I was like, you're having a good game. You're doing well. Bozo moment, penalty. And that's what happens when you're a goalkeeper. I keep saying the further back you go, the less you're allowed to make mistakes. And our biggest culprit for mistakes is the man in goal. So I don't know.
Fair enough. I think that I hear what you mean, but again, for our perspective and the way that we're going to turn up, again, it feels like the team of. I've heard things that the players have already been to the board and said, "Look, this guy's not good enough." And this was like 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Already.
I mean,
Oh,
this is why
brother.
I think with Rodgers. Remember we played when did we play? About this time 4 years
Yeah, it was
ago
around this time.
when we
Yeah, it was
played
like it
against.
was the first game after the November break. I remember that.
Yeah, and we did the DR Sports, and it was, you remember saying it's the manager, and I was still backing Rodgers, like he'll turn it around, And then obviously then the year came round, and then obviously we not that season, the season afterwards we got relegated. But you saw it. I was willing to back him. I was willing to back. Again, as you mentioned
I
before,
remember that because I've rarely seen such a hopeless game from the opposition. Every player was poor, and we were just running through you guys on the wings for fun. So,
and I feel like this will be worse than that. Genuinely, we made Man United look good under Ruud van Nistelrooy. Didn't do it. I don't mind him as a manager, but he didn't do anything that special, and they thumped us 3-0.
To be honest, United could argue that they were the better team against us when we played as well. I think it's just getting. Yeah, I would hear that. Like, they kept our forward line relatively quiet. Palmer didn't do anything. Jackson, I barred the one backwards pass to Enzo that he missed. I literally cannot tell you what he was doing. We just never got the ball to him. It was only Neto. Only Neto did anything in that team in the midfield. So like, maybe it's just getting rid of Ten Hag.
Potentially,
it'll be the same thing for you when you get rid of Cooper. You know, it's like you lose a terrorist, the mood just rises.
Yeah, and that's what I'm waiting for. There's disappointment from the club because they've not acted, and the international break would be a beautiful time to do it. But is it
true that he's got till January? Because I saw some sources saying that, because I was trying to research on your club before my preview earlier. So they're actually giving him till January.
Officially, nothing's been announced. I've heard this is. I think if he stays till 2025, he will go and will be in the relegation zone. Now, where we are at the moment, we're just outside it. But mark my words, if he stays in charge for that period of time, we will move into the relegation zone. And you need to act soon because, again, I'll bring up the table at the moment. So at the bottom of the table, you've got Southampton, probably going to keep their manager. Wolves, again, they're looking to sack their manager. Crystal Palace, I think, will sort it out. Ipswich, Everton. The problem is we had this under Rodgers where other teams acted quicker and that dragged us further down. We're just lucky that other teams haven't pulled the trigger before us.
That's why I'm surprised you're giving him so long, because what's your run of games like? What's your run of games like after Chelsea?
So, let me just get them up. So, we'll go Chelsea, Brentford, West Ham, Brighton, Newcastle, Wolves, Liverpool, Man City.
I mean, look, honestly, I think it's just sacking him after the Chelsea game would be pretty decent with the run you have coming up.
Please,
that should be his last game.
It should be, but it won't be, and that's the thing that I have. Like, the thing is,
West Ham or even Brentford, because West Ham would be the perfect bounce back game. They are scrubs, and they got the same problem with Lopetegui.
Yeah, but if you were to choose a manager for your team, it's obviously like being robbed or burgled. Do you know what I mean? But if you were to choose Cooper or Lopetegui, who would you rate as a better manager?
Oh, brother. I don't know. I really don't know with that one. And I was the guy who was saying bring Lopetegui after Pochettino. I mean, thank God. But at that point, I was just desperate.
That's an awful take.
Bro, I just wanted anybody over Poch at that point. I heard his name and knew he was free, and I just thought, you know what? Yeah, give it to him. Who cares? Can't be worse. It would be worse. But yeah, Cooper or no. I think my answer is just no. Like anybody else. They're up there with the two worst managers in the league.
They are, and I'm with you. I think
that's why you should take advantage. Get rid of this guy within the next week or two, because like you man already saw what happened last time you took too long with sacking a manager. Yeah. Why are they doing it again?
And Pete, the thing is, there's annoying narratives. Like I know my club well. If we go through the squad, we've got a genuine Premier League quality squad. That is capable of not finishing in relegation zone, but the manager is, as you've probably found out with Poch, brings you down so many levels to the point we go, and then some people go, "Oh, we deserve this," and I hate that
And then people start looking at
victimization
the players
mentality.
instead, and they're like, these players are crap. They aren't good enough. If we get rid of him, they're just going to down tools for another manager and all those crap narratives. I hate the scaremongering like that. The manager genuinely makes or breaks a squad. With the same energy, you sack him and you bring the right coach, you could just become a mid-table team.
Yeah.
Just like that.
And you look at other teams that have done it. You look at likes of Marco Silva at Fulham. You look at likes of Nuno, again, who's done it at Forest. He's doing it really well with Forest at the moment. He did it with Wolves when they came up. It is possible. I'm not saying that's the objective, but the team is good enough to compete with those squads. But we are massively underperforming with the manager, and that's just it at the moment. I think, again, coming back to the game, one thing to watch on the left hand side, James Justin gets basically he gets exposed every game by the system. So who's your starting left back? Is it probably going to be Neto?
It'll be Neto if Sancho ain't ready to start, which is probably a bigger problem for you because he's almost in-form forward.
He will have a field day. He will have an absolute field day down that. All the goals against Man United came down that left. And James Justin is a good player, but the system, it's kind of reverse what we had under Enzo. The system made the players better. The system is making the players worse, and players like Justin are being hung up to dry. He's not that bad a player, but because he's been told to go forward and come back, he's just been left exposed.
Yeah, because I remember, like, another thing I saw was about you guys prioritizing one side. So I'm assuming it's the right-hand side that you play most of your football on. And then that as well, there was one other thing too. Most of your best football is apparently like just muscle memory from last season.
Yeah. And the problem is it again, and the players are talking about Enzo and how he played football, not even talk about this manager. But the problem is you need with the Enzo system, it requires specific players to do specific things. Now, with your system, you've got the strength and depth. We've lost Ricardo, who's probably the best inverted. He was so good at the inverted right wing. There isn't.
I remember from back in the day. Yeah, he's quality.
Incredible. Such a good player. We've lost him for the next 4 to 5 months. Then we've lost Fatawu now, who's another wing back. Jordan Ayew's a doubt, who's come off the bench. So they're dropping like flies at the moment, and that's going to be a real impact, in my opinion. But we'll have to see, because I'm even seeing, again, this is anecdotal. I'm seeing friends at the moment. They're going, you get to the stage, and you've probably seen this. I'm not going to the game. It's even though I'm paying for it, it's just
last season.
Yeah. It's just
after December, I just parked it up. I did like 4 games after that, and that was it.
Yeah. You just hand your ticket. Do you want my ticket? Yeah, you can have it. That's fine.
Yeah. Have you got to that point already?
Yeah. I know, not me. Other fans. I know other fans that have already said done, and it's not because I don't want to back him. But with Poch, was it like? But I know you spotted it quite early. But in terms of the crowd, would like the away fans starting to move towards it out, and the home fans stayed, and then it slowly crept in, or was there people back the way?
It was just, what's the word? Like I just felt in terms of like the match going things, it just got a bit pathetic, really. Like everyone was just ripping on the players because none of them were household names. No one was saying anything about the coach. It was just the owners and the players and the managers just getting away with it all, because whenever he didn't win a game, he'd throw the players under the bus and just say, if this guy scored this chance, if this guy scored this chance, or if we had experienced players, even though I said this team's capable of competing for the league, and everybody just fell for it hook, line, and sinker. So I was like, I can't be bothered, innit? Because we're also blessed because we can do the streaming thing as well and just like detach from all of that. So I was just like, yeah, head first into streaming. I am not bothered. Well, my last game was United away. Ten Hag was on the damn ropes that game, leading into that game. It's like, cool. Regardless of how crap this season is, I know we're going to beat United. We're better than United. The way we got bopped out of the park, it could have been 6-1. We're lucky that it's Højlund and Garnacho, which is, funnily enough, the same thing that we were lucky about this season. But that was the only reason why it weren't 6-1. We literally couldn't get out of our half. I said I'd give him till the end of that week before I was Poch out. I heard him in the post-match press conference say, I didn't think we played badly. Like, yeah, out. I'm done. I ain't even waiting until the weekend. I'm done. If he ain't sat by Everton, I ain't going to Everton. Because why am I travelling up to cold-ass Liverpool for an early kickoff? We don't even win at that dump anyway. And I think we're going to go and do it now. And we couldn't beat this United side. That United side got bopped off the park 3-0 by Bournemouth at their own ground a few days afterwards. And then we lost 2-0 to Everton. Everyone's just blaming the players and all of that. I'm like, no, this man just dropped our 2 highest scoring forwards for this Everton game. And, we didn't score. My shock. And 2 goals from 2 set pieces again, by the way. There we are. But yeah, I get that. I get that. Because with you guys from last season, you had the whole Maresca era. You guys were cooking. But you're also winning weekly. You go from that to now just losing weekly under a manager that you don't rate. I wouldn't bother either. What's the point? These men still ain't sacked him. They're doing the same crap they did under Rodgers. I'm not going. What's the point?
Yeah.
And my weekend.
Exactly. And I'll watch it, and I won't go to the game. I'm going to meet. The only reason I'm going is to meet Fatter, and then I'm coming back home. Literally, as bad as it is, it's just to go to fine. I'm going to go. How's it been? An early kickoff. I'll watch.
Bro, I'd go link my mates in the pub after the game. I'll do the streaming. I'll be like, yeah, you guys at the pub? Cool. I'll see you there.
Yep, I'll link you there. And then other than that, I'm not doing. It's just again, you've got to prioritize. And some people, you're not a proper fan. I was like, no, I just value my time, and you value the energy in that sense. And other fans are doing the same. It'll be interesting what happens in the ground, but yeah, I mean, in terms of the your ambitions for the season, is it still top 4 in Europa League Conference League?
Yep. Yeah, and even though we fumbled the Carabao Cup, that was another thing that Maresca annoyed me with. That bench, it was just either the B team wins or we don't win. It is what it is. But yeah, top 4, depending on our run over the next few games and the way the teams around us are, I might start looking at 3rd. I might start thinking, can we punch a little bit, see if we can get top 3? If it's there, we could take it. I'm not going to think any higher than that. If Chelsea get to a point where I'm thinking about a league title, I'm cooking every club in sight for me even having that level of confidence after the way people have spoken about our club for 2 years. Cool. We should not be in a title race. If we are, that's an indictment on the league in general. But yeah, for me, top 4, maybe 3rd, maybe. But we'll see. I just want to get the UCL football back because then we get all the players up on 30% extra wages, and then that means we can start offering that level of wages to more players too and strengthening the squad.
Fair enough. And with that, and obviously that means winning it, and if you get to 4 Champions League. But with I've forgot my question now. There was going to be something, in terms of the Conference League, because obviously you've had experience in Europe, getting to finals, winning it. You've had Champions League for years as well. What's it like moving into this kind of new era with the management, new era with the players, and the new era with the manager as well? Because it's all very, very new. Even the Conference League is new.
In terms of the era, it's just, I'll be real, that's life at Chelsea. It's like a new era every year or two. So it's new era at Chelsea again for 7.0 or something. Relief, obviously, because we've just got out of the Poch era, and I was so worried they'd keep him for another year. Because all the PR was ridiculous, but thankfully they didn't listen to it, which is why I said Clear Lake have another year out of me, solely out of just ignoring all of that and sticking to the standards. But it's been great. It's been really good to actually just see some flowers start blossoming from this whole project because you know me, we've had the conversation numerous times. I've said I believe in the quality of this squad, just believe the manager selection has been outrageous. I looked at Maresca, I was like, we went the championship routes. Okay. Again, I refuse to believe he's worse than Poch without evidence given to me. I have not got any of that evidence. But yeah, it was like, let's see what you got. And I think he's done well. The amount of pressure that was on him from the start. I spoke about how disgusted I was with our fan base at the start of the season because they were all booing and cussing out Maresca and Dewsbury Hall within match day 1. I was thinking, where was this last season? You lot want to have standards now, but because we can't beat the 4 Peters on match day 1, you lot want to start complaining. nerds, every single one of you. Like, I was one more defeat away from parking up the season ticket again just because I couldn't be bothered with the fans that I was surrounded by. Gallagher chants every time Dewsbury Hall gives a ball away. Like, Gallagher didn't spend like 90% of the game doing the same thing. But this is where his stubbornness comes into play, and this is what I like about it, because he heard all of that and just like, I don't care. I don't care. Like, if the owners don't believe in my system, I'll leave the next day. It is what it is. I'm fine with that.
Is that what he said?
And we're now starting to, not that's what he said, but I know he said that with you guys, so I'd assume it's the same energy.
It was,
and we start to see the flowers.
It was got similar fan base in the sense of there's certain players, people in the ground that go, I like 4-4-2. You knock it long, you hit them on the counter. That's how I like my football. And if anybody deviates away from that, I think we spoke about this in the summer. Some people go, I don't like this. And they just, because it's this new style, and some people go, no, don't give me the new style, give me the old style. But the reason why those old people aren't in the business anymore, because the game's moved on. The game has to change. And you can't be like, oh, I don't like this.
These men were talking about, oh, we should have brought in Conte or Mourinho. I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah. 2024, and you want to wheel Jose back for one more run. You will kill his legacy. Like, his legacy will never be stopped, but like, yo, try.
And he's begging, the only thing he's begging to come back in the Premier League, he's not even looking at a top job. And if you heard him, he's like, if I was to come back in the Premier League, I want a lower job just so I can
get that's smart. Footing. Because they'd be more willing to take in his style of football just because I think they're more used to it. So I was going to say, for you guys, I'm not surprised it was even tougher for Maresca to try and bed that in. And also, it's Mourinho. If Mourinho joins your club, he's the biggest star in the club. You'll listen to every word he says just because, wow, Jose's at our club. So yeah, that's the perfect move for him.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great move. I don't think it would work at Leicester. But again, if he keeps us up, that's all that matters. But I don't think we'd go for him. The end of the day, they've banged on with our club out. We've had an Enzo's. You mentioned, like, as somebody that supports the club outside the top six, you might have seen this with like Real Madrid a little bit as well. When a player wants to move, that's, look, you wish them well, thank you. It's the next step up or whatever, going to like a Real Madrid, like a bigger club. But it's who you replace them with is the main thing. Enzo wasn't the problem leaving. It was who we replaced him with, and he was nowhere near the quality, and he plays nowhere near the same style. But if you want to keep the same players and play the same similar formation, the only time we've had success is when we played his system, but he's not his manager. So what are you doing?
So you just got to get another Pep assistant or something, just see whichever one's still available. Although you guys got unlucky with like Graham Potter and that, because if you got Potter, I think you're looking at a completely different Leicester. I always say with Potter, because I regret ever being Potter out, because he was at least good defensively. And there was a pathway in terms of building up the play too. It's just questionable game management and a shocking team that he had to deal with. We scored 38 league goals that season. It's like we had 29 in April, which is the worst tally of a Chelsea squad since 1920s. And you got to remember what Chelsea's gone through since the 1920s. We were never that sort of a big team. We went up one league title, nearly went down to Division 3. And we still outscored that tally from the 22-23 roided up Chelsea squad with a bunch of UCL winners. That's how rubbed out they were. Which is why, again, Potter, I think would have been a much better move for you guys. But the only reason why I guess I could understand Cooper still being in the job is if you still haven't looked for the proper replacement. Because it can't be another bum after him. You have to get somebody that could at least get a tune out of the rest of the players. And I'm never going to be the one to say, but who's out there? It's another argument I hate. People try and put you on the spot like you're a scout and be like, so who would you bring in then? I don't care. Someone better than this bum. They should at least be looking for that. And if that's the case, maybe I get it.
It's like, what? And the thing is, like, who do you want? Well, let's look at what I don't want first. What we don't want is to continue with this because this is the problem and these things need addressing. And that's how people, well, who do you want? Okay, well, let's look at what is going wrong at the moment and then think about a manager that wouldn't do these things. So people just come in and go, oh, well, who do you want then? It's like, well, yes, it's easier just to, because it's like a gotcha question, isn't it? Well, you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we'll stick with him then. Okay, well, let's.
And they won't like your answer anyway. Then people tried to tell me no to Hansi Flick because he couldn't get the Germany team working. And now look what he's doing. And also, who was the Germany forward? The same bum we had to deal with. But here we are.
Yeah, and especially since I bet you were going mental the fact that he scored, shushed, and then it was offside against Arsenal.
Bro, heart in mouth, man. I thought we really let this scrub squat our ground again. I didn't even believe the VAR until they made the call. I thought, just give him the damn goal and just get this crap over with. But again, I'm glad he celebrated like that. It means people can stop giving him that credit for the UCL goal because like that bum played a minimal part in winning it.
If it helps, that's how we felt about Chilwell when he scored. And then the offside given, we were like, yeah, it was written in the stars.
Yeah, I get.
So now
like,
you
when
get
you
it.
guys started cheering his every touch after that, I was like, you know what, you're celebrating. I don't blame him. I don't even blame
It
him.
hurts. It hurts at the time, but now that you've had that, I just wanted to mention that that's how it feels like. I get it.
Yeah, because I forgot all about that moment. All I just remember is the Kepa howler for the Tielemans goal. But yeah, like I don't blame you lot for hating him even
It was
more
a
after that.
great goal.
It was a great. Kepa always concedes a great goal. He always does.
No, but
Why?
that was
Because he's
top
got
bins,
them little
man.
T-Rex
Top
arms
bins.
and he can't reach the top corners. And it's not to devalue from the Tielemans finish. It was a great strike. But I know Mendy's saving that. I know Mendy's getting closer to that. It was
Closer,
near
yes.
fingertips from him because it's always that. I remember because I was arguing with so many fans in the ground because I was doing my vlog and I just mumbled. I was like, fucking Kepa. And like 6 people turned around and be like, what do you mean, Kepa? It was a banger. I was like, why does he always concede bangers? Why? Why is he always the only goalkeeper that we have that concedes a worldie? Why? Because people see that as Kepa in goal and they think, you know what? Why not? I'll have a hit. Because he can't reach the top corners. He never can. That's why he's a walking cheat code for the opposition. The same way, shout out to Tielemans. Chilwell deserves it. Like, even more now, I remember that moment because, bruv, what an idiot.
Well, what do you think about? Because again, he's been where is he still? He's just training with the 21s or something at the moment. Has he been pushed
He's
out?
just very out of favor. Maresca don't rate him at all, and I don't blame him. There's another reason why I backed him. He said he watched every Chelsea game from last season, and then he booted out Gallagher, Sterling, and Chilwell, the 3 players I wanted gone. Cool. I know you're on job.
Yeah, and you know he means something when you've seen that same alignment. But from your perspective, Chilwell again, he's probably gone relatively soon, or again getting on loan somewhere.
First offer, really. And it's just no one's coming in for him. Yeah. Literally nobody. So yeah, man's just there. He's just there. We brought him on the bench for Newcastle in the cup for no reason. Just wasted a spot there. He came on against Barrow. I remember that when we were like 7-0 up.
That's near our ends. Barrow is.
Yeah, that's the only minutes that he's had in the Prem. And like, yeah. Like, there were rumors of him going on loan to you lot. I don't believe that's going to happen because, like, your fans are annoyed enough without Chilwell coming back.
I think, look, you know me and you know the Leicester fans now. We're all right, lads. We'll give people you might hear a little bit of boos, but even like Kante and everything got a great reception when he came back. There's always going to be some people that are booing. However, Chilwell is one that everybody hates. Like, genuinely.
Yeah, the more I think about it, like, academy grad, pushed his way out to another club, celebrates an offside goal, and then celebrates another goal. And like,
for me, it was the fact that I told you that before he signed, 5-6 months, that he's coming to you. Because I could tell he down tools for us, not interested in playing for us. So, and then after the game, I think we lost to you during that time in the cup, in the quarterfinals. And he went over, shaking all their hands, big smile on his faces, like, I'm going to join you soon. And he just basically goes, well, I've got one move now, so I'm going to play for you guys. And he got his first England cap with us at the King Power Stadium, etc. And then he just keeps saying stuff that's dumb. Like when we played against, I think we beat you. Was it 2-1? Can't remember. It was 2-1. And I can't remember who it was. That Brendan Rodgers the season afterwards. After he joined
Lampard's last game.
Lampard, I think because I think it was Lampard. Then he was sacked 2-1. And he came out and said it was the most depressing game I've ever been a part of. And I'm like, just calm down. Like, again, because it was against Leicester. Now we've got a point to prove. I'm just like, just calm. All these little things the fans remember. and
The
they just re-signed
similarity
him.
between Havertz and Chilwell and like the dumb stuff they've been saying. And it's funny because they were in the same friendship group as Chelsea. So I'm not surprised they're both absolute idiots. But Havertz said was doing the exact same thing. Like he was talking about how winning the UCL with Arsenal would mean a lot more than with Chelsea. I was like, thank the Lord he said that. Because I want people to stop giving him all the praise like he won us the damn trophy. Stuff like Mikel Arteta's the best manager that I've ever had. You won nothing with him. You won everything with Tuchel. Then he shushed the same fans that of the club that he's only achieved anything with. Like, they're all idiots. And again, I'm not surprised. It's the same group. Like Havertz, Mount, Gallagher, and Chilwell, just a group of absolute mongs. Shout out to Gallagher, though. He's still a real one. I just didn't rate him as a player, but you surrounded yourself with trash, mate. Absolute trash.
Fair enough. And I think a couple of bits, because I can't believe we've got this far and not mentioned it. Got 45 minutes. What have you made of Kieran Dewsbury-Hall so far? I know he's barely played any minutes.
Kind of see why. And I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism. Like, because he's the Gallagher replacement. Yeah, and it's like, Gallagher's a scrub anyway. Like, I don't get it. Like, Dewsbury-Hall at the very worst is playing to Gallagher's level. Okay, whatever. But like, yeah, there's been some very sloppy moments from him when he's been playing, and also some decent moments. I see some good link-up play with like João Felix and Mudryk in some Conference League games, but ultimately not enough to really get a proper idea of him. But also, like, just feels like a very pointless transfer. I won't even front, because after that we went and we got João Felix. Who else? Palmer's playing in his position too, and Kunku's fighting for that role as well. And then we've got Esteval joining, who's meant to be the next Neymar next year. So it's like, look, it was a great idea at the time. Now it just looks more and more pointless by the week. And if you lot came in for him in January, I'd be like, look, sorry for wasting your time, innit? Just go back. Go back. No hard feelings, no hate.
Yeah.
It ain't working out.
We can't afford. The thing is, he's got used to a certain level of lifestyle with him. I don't think he'll come back. He might come back on loan. The problem is, even if he came back on loan to us, I think there's bigger issue. The system's the issue. The issue isn't the players. The issue is, you mentioned, it's with like Poch. The issue isn't the players. It's the players aren't being coached. They don't know what to do. And you could put better players in that position and it would still suck. Because these players are Premier. If you think about some of the players we've got, like, for example, people forget Harry Winks, Premier League player. Wilfred Ndidi, Premier League player. You look at Buonanotte, Premier League player. Jamie Vardy, Premier League proven player. These aren't just like, yeah, they're going to keep you safe. These are good players. Mads Manson has proven this season he's a Premier League player. There's Premier League players all throughout that. James Justin is a quality Premier League player. Ricardo Pereira, quality Premier League player. People like to run simple narratives and go, oh, well, the three teams that went up last season all came down, so the three teams will do exactly the same thing. But they don't like to do more analysis than that. You probably have the same thing with Chelsea.
Very, very lazy. I understand that. Like, getting a player at Dewsbury-Hall's level is only just going to give you more individual moments, which might help you, but like you said, it ain't the bigger fish that you need to be focused on. It's just with him, we've wasted his time. I won't front, because he's not getting in over Felix. He ain't getting in over Nkunku. He ain't getting in over Palmer. So I don't really know where his route is into the first team. If anything, I think I've still probably missed a forward. Yeah, because we got Chukwuemeka, who can't even get minutes over him, which fans are getting annoyed about too, because I can't lie, Chukwuemeka's a good player. He might have been able to have those minutes that Dewsbury-Hall's getting in the Conference League. So yeah, all in all, it's just been a bit of a waste.
Fair enough. And finally, before we finish, the only thing that I've got is, obviously, what do you think about Tuchel going for the England job and getting the England job now? Obviously, you've watched Tuchel for a while, but do you think it's the right move for him?
For him, maybe. I mean, it does get him back to London, like, because of how quickly we sacked him and everything. Like, it's a bit of a shock to the system. Had to leave the city that he was very comfortable in. So, yeah, like, it's the right move, but you need to be successful. And that's the thing, because I know what English media is like. let him not make a final or something. They'll start instantly comparing him to Southgate, and the xenophobia is going to be insane. You're going to get so many World War II jokes and all this crap. Oh, why we got a German in charge and all this garbage. So he has to be successful, but I think he can be. I rate the England squad. I just never rated the coach. It's the same thing with Leicester, same thing with Chelsea last season. The way he's going to set them up is going to be much better defensively. I know we were good defensively anyway, but like there was no build up. And I think we're going to be a lot better with that, with Tuchel. How he handles the forward line is going to be the real question. But again, you have a much better range of options than when you were at Chelsea. Chelsea is what? Lukaku, Havertz, Mount, Werner, Pulisic, Ziyech. Just a list of big names who are just a little bit scrubby. Bar maybe Pulisic, for example, but Pulisic had no favour with him. But
and injured.
Look at it now, it's Watkins, Kane, Tony, Foden, Palmer, Sterling, like Sancho. There's so many other options. So I would be very surprised. Like, maybe the World Cup might be a bit too much to ask. If you had this guy for the Euros, maybe they could beat Spain. Because the fact England even made the final was a laugh to me under Southgate. I went out for the final for a day out. Everyone's like, yo, it's coming home. Don't be so negative. I was like, yeah, sure. Look, I'm just here for the day out. And if we win, say less. I'll happily say you all were right. We're not beating Spain. Man could barely beat Slovakia and Switzerland and all. And want to talk to me about Spain. Tuchel, I believe he's that good of a tactician. You'd give me hope. And I think that's a bit more than what we've had the last few years. But they have to keep him past the World Cup, personally.
I think they will, especially if they get Southgate for that long. But again, time will tell with that one. That's pretty much everything from me. So yeah, Lewis, again, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, man. Where can the people find you?
Yeah, Carefree Lewis G, Chelsea Fan TV. Will be live throughout the weekend. I've been on a little bit of a vacation the last week or two, so it's good to be back on the grind. And yeah, great to be back on. Then just hope to see you guys next season, innit? Because I don't want to see you lot go down.
That might be my final question, actually. So before we go, I'll bring up the table. So with the current Premier League, because normally you talk about top fours, top European spots. On the other side of it, if you look at that team at the moment, or those few, who do you think is the three to go down?
Well, Wolves and Southampton, I already think will be gone. But it's about the last spot. And I could see Ipswich drop. Everton, if it weren't for Sean Dyche, I'd have them down as a third one by a mile. But Everton Ipswich, even though I rate McKenna, I don't think they got enough.
I think Ipswich die by Burnley. They'll live and die by Sean Dyche, but they sacked him. That's why. But I think Ipswich have took a gamble and they played great football. But what they've done, and I only know this because I watched the Championship more last season, they've made the best of the Championship. The problem is they took a gamble and thought the players would take a step up, just like the manager. The manager is a great manager, but there's a lot of potential there, but it's too soon. 2 years ago, they were in League One, and they've kept them players and just added Championship players to it. With that, the difference between the Championship and the Premiership is too much. And that's okay.
I hear that, but because they could do what Burnley should have been doing with Company, which was you go up, you get the experience, you get the PL money, you go back down, you strengthen, go bully the Championship again, and go up with a bit more of a stronger and more experienced team. That's probably what I could see Ipswich doing. But I look at the way they play, and I rate it. It's like the Norwich teams from back in the day where they play their way regardless, but you're going down because you're playing that way.
And that's fine.
I think that's Ipswich.
And that's absolutely fine because they've got the lowest budget, they've got the smallest squad, they've got and they've took a gamble, and the gambles, if it worked, they're a genius. But I don't think it's worked. So I'm hoping that Southampton, so Wolves keep their manager. I'm hoping that Southampton stick with them. But I'm worried about if we keep this manager for too long, we might be pulled into that and that's the problem. I can see it happening already.
I'm assuming you lot get rid of Cooper, but if you don't,
we're going down.
You're involved. You're involved.
Yeah, I think we're involved already, but it's not fun. It's not fun at the moment. But yeah, big up Lewis again. Appreciate you having on. Again, we're going to be doing, if you're not already, make sure you go subscribe to Lou's channel. You'll see me on once a week or so. You'll
Shameless
see me on
FC,
roasting other people. It's great fun. The Shameless FC. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you all in the next video. So goodbye.